We are glad to have you. Yes, as I was saying, an online club runs the same way as a brick and mortar. We have our formal speeches, we have our table topics, and we have our evaluations. We do have a couple of extra roles like the watcher, who is actually watching everybody on video at one time, similar to a body language monitor, and we have a chat monitor. As David will explain in the introduction, we have a chat down at the bottom where we can post questions or make comments, and somebody will recap that at the end. But David, I see that we were at 7:59, so I am going to go ahead and pass the baton over to you.
Okay. Actually, Angie was going to be our chat monitor, and I don't see her online.
We did have a couple of other people also sneak in on me. Do we have time to let Coach Carol and Doug and Asiko introduce themselves?
Okay, let's make it quick. But Jim Barber, could we draft you to be the chat monitor?
Be my pleasure.
Okay, and that also means that if people are posting messages saying that they're horribly confused and I went past something too fast, go ahead and break in and interrupt me, okay?
Okay, you got it.
Luis, I don't think we have time. I think to go.
Okay. Carol and Doug, we'll try and catch, and Asiko, we'll try and catch on the back end. Go ahead, David.
All right. We will have some breaks along the way for discussion as well. And part of that is because there are a lot of knowledgeable people in this club, some of them who may know more things or different things than I do. You should be seeing a screen that says this meeting will be recorded, correct? You see that?
Yes.
All right. So our policy is we record these meetings as a matter of routine. That means that we wind up with a lot of video, and we post the full replay after the meeting. But sometimes if we really want people to see something that's happened that is really cool, really exceptional, what we really want to do is mine that piece, carve it out, and make it available. And I'm going to talk more about all the different ways that you can capture video along the way. So welcome to Online Presenters Toastmasters. This is a club that not only meets online, but focuses on learning skills for better webinars and online events. We want to thank Ring Central. When we started this club, I was a consultant to Ring Central, helping them with their marketing for how to integrate video with other modes of collaboration that they offer. And they have allowed us ever since to use this platform for free, so we're very grateful. If you're not used to being in an online meeting, there's a few things to notice. There are buttons in the lower left-hand corner that will allow you to mute and unmute yourself. And if we run into issues with too much background noise, I will probably mute everybody at some point. So far, it hasn't been a problem. But you can unmute yourself if you need to speak up. And we do also have the chat function, which allows you to post questions. As we mentioned, that Jim Barber will be monitoring for those questions along the way so that he can relay anything important. And maybe also when we get to the discussion breaks that we can focus on things that people most want to know about. Also, there are two modes of viewing this. Actually, it's not going to matter that much just because I'm going to be screen sharing the entire time. And normally you toggle, but you can toggle between the active viewer, active speaker, and the gallery mode where you see everyone. If you would like to become a member, there is a button right on our website that says join that explains all our rules. We are considered an advanced club, so there are some hurdles. I think everybody here has Toastmasters experience. This is also dues renewal season, so that's why the dues renewal button is highlighted in red. Please try and stop by there sometime soon if you want to continue as a member. With that, it is showtime. Now again, we're abbreviating a lot of the usual things that we do in the Toastmasters meeting. We do have some time reserved at the end for table topics, the impromptu speaking exercise. but I'm mostly skinnied it down to a timer who's going to help me keep me on track for time so that we get to the discussion breaks and we get to all the material that I promised to cover, and the chat monitor. Follow-up links and resources will be posted to this address. Now you're going to get, everybody who is participating live here is going to get this link to this replay afterwards. But, one of the main things I want to share with you is the idea that you have the opportunity to capture magic in your brick and mortar Toastmasters meeting. And in particular, I want to make the point that if you are not video recording your table topic speeches or other speeches, that's kind of a crime.
You start thinking of who?
William Shakespeare.
Yes, you begin thinking about William Shakespeare, to be or not to be. But for me, when I begin thinking about that phrase, to be, I think about a verse in the Bible that has challenged me for years. To be. To be.
I am B, and I want to be. Distinguished Toastmaster, fellow Toastmaster, and welcome guests. To be or not to be was the Hamlet's dilemma. So to be what you want to be. You can be what you want to be.
I'm Contest Master. To be. To be was the name of my first pet. To be. To be was just the cutest you would ever see. He would greet you, walk over to you, and he'd rub up next to you. And he'd sit on the couch, you'd sit down, and he'd jump on your lap.
So the point of showing that, I'm not necessarily saying that that's the world's greatest piece of art, but we saw a spike in traffic to our website right after these videos were posted. And I think actually the response that you're seeing there was not to the specific edit that I just showed you. It was to the video showing all the speakers. But still, that was pretty good for us, for a little Toastmasters Club. And this is the setup that I use to record video on a weekly basis. So this is the old smartphone that I never got around to sending back to Sprint, that is clamped to a tripod to keep it steady, because holding it steady with your hands would be too difficult. And very recently I added a little directional microphone that's stamped on the back. And I'll give you links to where you can find these products along a little bit later. At one point, we experimented with a wireless lavalier microphone. So the microphone that you clip to your collar, it had a little battery pack that you would wear on your waist, and we put that directly into the phone. And we got away from it because it was, even though it definitely gave us better sound pickup, it was too much hassle for a weekly Toastmasters meeting. It was too much logistics to get that set up, and it wasn't worthwhile. But the directional microphone is helping me pick up better sound. And you know, the first thing I did even before that was just make sure that the photographer cannot be shy. The photographer has to be in the front row if you're shooting with just a phone. But we have the benefit of these very cheap consumer technologies available to us that give us a way of capturing video very easily. The other thing you can do is you can do Facebook Live, which is another form of online meeting. And in the replay links, we'll be sharing also a workshop that we did earlier specifically on Facebook Live, which is, I think, one of the best resources we have on our club website. After you do a Facebook Live, now this is where you either take a smartphone and you just do selfie video, or there are ways to do it for your computer as well. So you do this live session, it immediately, or within a few minutes, becomes available on the Facebook service as a video. You can download it, though, and improve it. You can edit out the mistakes that you made. I talk about editing out individual uhs and ums. Yes, I have literally done that. But I've edited out bigger mistakes, worse mistakes, too. So video editing is a wonderful opportunity to improve upon reality. Now, this is the routine I would go through at the end of the meeting to upload directly from the phone. So this is part of why I enjoy using a smartphone for this purpose, is even though we don't have a cell plan active anywhere more for making phone calls from this device, it does pick up Wi-Fi. We have Wi-Fi at our location. So I can start the videos uploading before I even leave for home. Here's a picture of the little tripod clip and the microphone. Now, in order to get our members comfortable with doing this on a regular basis, we had to have an approach for shy Toastmasters. Now, do you want your icebreaker broadcast to the world? Well, you might not, or a lot of your members might not. Or if they thought you were going to do that to them, they might run away screaming. On the other hand, is it a useful thing for somebody who's just given their icebreaker to be able to go back and watch the video and see what they did with their body language, see what they did with their ahs and ums, and experience that again. And on the other extreme, when somebody does really well, then you can encourage them to make it public. So, I do this thing called the WordPress for Toastmasters project. And one of the reasons I promote for clubs to use the WordPress platform is that you can copy and paste a YouTube video directly into a web page or a blog post. It's really that easy. It would be more dramatic if you knew the old way of doing it, which involved copying little pieces of code and editing HTML, but it is pretty slick. And how do we get past this? Hello. If you're interested more about that, this is the website for the WordPress for Toastmasters project. In addition, you can create video just from PowerPoint. There is a narrated slideshow feature buried in PowerPoint that you can make use of as well. And taking it the other way, which is something I've been doing throughout this presentation so far, you can have video embedded in a PowerPoint so that when you go to the next slide, you queue it up automatically. All right, Therese, I see the red light, but we are going to be going on to the next segment now. So there's some basic video editing concepts that I want to get across. And these should be pretty much the same regardless of what piece of software you decide to use. I did want to take a moment to mention that if you go on our website, you go to the blog section, there's a blog here that talks about Apple's iMovie. I'm not an expert on iMovie, but I've got a tutorial here that somebody else did, and I've added little annotations about when they talk about things that would be relevant to editing a Toastmasters speech. We're also going to share a tutorial on the video editing capabilities in the Google Photos app, which is on iOS and Android. So you can edit some things right from your phone. You need sensitive fingertips, I guess, to do fine work there, but it can be done. So one basic concept that you'll see in a number of pieces of software, you're going to see it in Camtasia, which I'll be demoing a little bit later, and you'll see it also in Apple's iMovie, is the idea of a timeline. So this is, what you're seeing here are several pieces of media. There is an audio-only clip, there is some recorded stream video, there's some other video that's been added in here, and the symbol at the top is called the playhead. So the playhead is at 4 minutes and 11 seconds, it looks like. So this is terminology from the age of videotape, I guess, right? So at one point you ran the tape over a magnetic playhead, and that would control what was shown on the screen or what was played back on the recording. So we can move back and forward on that playhead, and we can pick spots to cut, paste, and manipulate our video. So here is a more complicated project zoomed out a little bit, showing everything I've assembled to make a promotional video for John Hayden's appearance at our club promoting the Facebook Live workshop he did. Another word you're going to hear here in just a moment is storyboard. So storyboard is a term from Hollywood. This is the storyboard for one of the opening scenes in Raiders of the Lost Ark. A storyboard is basically a comic book illustrating the major action that's supposed to happen in that segment of the movie before they ever start filming. So to illustrate this, I'm going to get some help from somebody who's not here today. Jim and Chris Gould run a business called Geeks on Tour. They're members of this club, and their business is traveling around the country and right now around the world doing seminars on technology for travelers. And in this video, Chris is showing off how she would take a little bit of video where there was a mistake in the beginning. Somebody walked in front of her camera. There's a mistake in the middle where she cut off somebody's head, and she's going to assemble that into one more polished video. So it's not a speech video, but look at the concepts here.
The first thing I want to show you, since I have opened this video using Windows 10, it is open in Microsoft Photos. And if I tap this little edit pencil, it says I can edit in Photos and I can trim. And just using this simple tool, you can drag the white button to change the beginning of your video and this white button to change the end of their video. But remember, I said I want to cut out some of the middle here, so I think there is a better way. That is just to start with Windows Photos. I just open up Windows Photos and I tell it that I want to create a custom video. And it says, okay, select what you'd like to add to your video. Now I have to go find that video of the dancers. It's in a folder, and it's in my folder called Users Chris Videos. And there it is right there. I click on it and then click Create. Now usually you're making a movie with several pieces, so this is just for purposes of trimming these dancers. I'm going to name my video Dancers and OK. Now the video I use should be appearing right here. It's not, but I see a little arrow, so I'm going to click that to show the videos that I am working with, or in this case just the one. And what you do is you drag your item down to the storyboard, and this video clip I want to trim. There is the trim tool, and now I have this nice little beginning and ending marker. So the first piece, I just want to cut out the guy who walked in front of my camera, and I want to cut out all of the second couple so that I can end up with the second couple and his head not cut off. So where does that first couple kind of stop? I think it's about right there. Okay, so done. Now instead of 48 seconds, this clip is only 13 seconds. Now to get the second half, I take the original video and I drag it down to the second slot. That is the whole 48 seconds. Click Trim. And now this time I want to get to where the second couple starts dancing and his head is not cut off. So right about there. And then I said I wanted to end when he gave her a little dip. Where was that? I think it was right there. Okay. And done. So now I have the first piece where I trimmed both the beginning and the end, and the second piece where I trimmed both the beginning and the end. And the movie maker will put them together into one piece. So let's play it up here. This is your preview screen, and it says that I have 25 seconds worth of video.
Holy crap.
Please mute yourself, whoever said holy crap.
And
but
there you go.
that's okay.
Ronnie,
For
I'm
next-
sorry. I never saw that before.
That's
I
okay.
can export or share. And best for sharing online or longest upload, best for big screens. This is a tiny little video. I'm going to say give me the largest size. And notice it didn't ask me where I wanted to save it, but it tells me that it saved it here. Crisp Pictures exported videos, dancers, large, and I can view in File Explorer so that I can rename it anything I want and move it anywhere I want. And I can share it from here. So
Okay.
the first thing I want to show you.
We shouldn't do that. So here's an example of the table topics video. So this is the whole video. The only thing here, we haven't done any fancy edits here, but we've trimmed out the beginning and the end of Bruce Pokey's table topic, and then I've added a slide at the end that says something about Club Awesome and gives our website address, because I'm putting these things out there in the hope that somebody's going to follow that breadcrumb trail and come to our club website and want to come visit. Another thing that's very useful here, she showed this little menu that pops up when you click the pencil icon, and it's showing trim, but the last option there, save photo from video, that's kind of interesting too. So I can take this and say, save photo from video, and I can grab a still out of this. Now, if you think of this, very often it's difficult to capture the perfect magic moment as a photographer, but the video is capturing all the moments. So I can go back and forth until I find absolutely the moment that I want to capture and goes to save photo. And that will then turn up out on my computer. I mentioned that Apple iMovie is available for you in addition to this Windows app. And to be honest, I had no idea that app existed on Windows 10. I remember there used to be a program called Movie Maker on older versions of Windows, and that disappeared. It wasn't included in Windows 10, so I thought they had just phased it out. And the tricky thing is, it's not in a program that says video, it's in a program that says photos, partly because both Windows Photos and Google Photos have this idea of allowing you to stitch together a bunch of still images with some music and create a video that way. But Apple iMovie is very complicated. Yes.
David, we had a question. Could you verify that it was Google Photos that Chris was doing the editing with?
No, she was using the Windows 10 photo editor.
Thank you.
So it's a free, so you go to Windows 10 Photos. Actually, I think newer versions, releases of Windows 10, if you search on video, you might see an icon that says Video Editor, but it's actually just a shortcut to the same program. It's to that section of the program.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Apple iMovie is very powerful. I'm going to show you a commercial product called Camtasia. Chris Gold used Camtasia to record the video that you just saw about the other program. But iMovie seems to be able to do almost everything that you can do with Camtasia, including separating audio and video, certainly cutting, moving things around, layering them, adding titles, all that stuff you can do there. Here's a glimpse at her tutorial on Google Photos movie editing. I'm not going to show you that, but there'll be a link to it in the replay. And there is also a basic video editor. Again, it's probably just useful for trimming off the beginning and the end, but there is a basic video editor in YouTube Studio. So it's the tool that you use to upload and organize your videos in YouTube, and I may be able to show that briefly later. All right. So next section. Knowing when to cut. Some of you may remember this was one of the first workshop sessions we did. We had a professional speaker named Johnny Campbell in to speak. And when he was talking about the videos that he does, he said that at the very beginning and very end of what he wanted to be his video segment, and Therese, this is the next segment now.
Oh, okay.
So he would do a great big smile, and then he would scroll through the video looking for that smile, and he would know that was the place to cut. So that's the equivalent of, you know, starting the scene. Here's an example of a video that has been edited that includes the PowerPoint slides that I showed. Now, when we record video in the club, I tell whoever's manning the camera, stay with the speaker, ignore the screen, because if they try and put the camera on the screen, it's going to come out washed out and distorted anyway. You want to keep the camera on the speaker, and then we can splice in the slides later if it's worth going to the effort of doing so. So here I've got images of slides that are positioned on top of the video track, and I'm going to show you how to do that in a little bit. Here is an example where I've got both my video and the slides showing, kind of notched in towards each other. So here is where I said I would try and go to demo. Okay, let's see. Actually, I wanted to start with this one. Okay, so again, here's a still image that is one of these title slides. If I want to add an image down here, I can drag it down. Since it's a still image, it doesn't have any inherent length to it, but I can stretch it out or make it shorter, depending on how much of the video I want to overlap. The first decision you should make about PowerPoint is, should you use PowerPoint? Do you need a computer? That's not sized right, but I can also resize that to make that fill out the screen if I just wanted to cover myself up. Well, I'm not going to futz with that too much more. And this was a segment here where I included some recorded video, and again, it was shown live, but to PowerPoint, which I've been doing. So I've got my narration in the background of the actual stuff that I'm saying, but you don't see that right now. You're just seeing the video. So we're trying to bring out what's important for the audience to see. And if this was a contest video, I couldn't monkey around with it this much. But here, the important thing is to convey the information that I want to convey. So quickly, I'm going to show
Text Camtasia.
So Camtasia is not free. Camtasia will run you a few $100s, and you have to decide whether that's worth it for what you're going to use it for. It's used a lot in education and for software demonstrations. And here I've imported the video of the actual speech, and there's a point right here where we go to showing the same video that I showed you earlier. What I'd like to do is replace that. I'm going to show you something that I've put together recently to try and share some of the best moments from a Toastmasters contest. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to highlight this and cut. I'm going to drag this down. And I'll go to the end and see how well that synchronizes here. Ah! Oh, wait a minute. Okay, I do also need to resize this if I want to cover myself up. And the other thing I need to do so that we don't have the same audio playing twice is I'm going to make a cut here, and I'm going to do separate audio and video, and I'm going to get rid of that audio. So that's just what the microphone of the camera picked up from the video playing in the room. So it should. The Toastmasters exist, or they have some very vague. Let's say. Recently to try and share some of the best moments from a Toastmasters contest.
To be.
Okay. And so I would need to futz with that more to get it exactly perfect. The other thing about knowing where to cut is you can zoom in, and these are the waveforms of the sound that I'm making of my speech.
It's time.
It's time. Okay. All right. Let me just complete my thought. Very often I'll want to cut just before a word is said or just after a word is said. And this is how I would do it, is by playing it back and forth, figuring out exactly where I said, and now, and so that I can split or cut whatever segment of the video I want to do. And this is how we would cut. We can sort of stretch this back and forth. It shows what's highlighted. And I cut that and it goes away. So it's, in a way, it's a little bit simpler than what Chris Gold was demonstrating with the Windows photos, where she had to add the video twice. So with that, I promise to take a break, and we're going to have a little discussion break so that this is time for Q&A, but also for others who may have different experience to add what they'd like to add. So questions or comments? Jim Barber, do you have any queued up? Or?
Nope, it's been quiet, Dave. I think everybody's mesmerized.
Everybody's stunned. Okay. Well, we could continue. Do you want me to continue on, or do people have questions that they'd like to get in now before I go further?
So if you could just repeat what programs you were using so I can understand what to search on my computer.
Sure. That's part of the reason that I will be sending you out a link to a replay, and on the same place where you can get the replay, there's going to be links to where you can get a tripod clip for your phone, links to the Camtasia website, some other tutorials. The tutorial on Google Photos will be there as well. So thank you to Chris Gold for allowing us to share that those are normally members only videos on her business website. So all those details would be shared after the fact, but just to mention, Windows 10 has a video editor hidden inside the Windows Photos app, and then Camtasia is the main commercial application that I'm demonstrating. In fact, I met Chris Gold at a Camtasia workshop many years ago. Other questions now, or we can
Yes,
do them up
David.
for later? Yes.
Doug asked, is there a cheat sheet for general editing methods?
Well, I'm going to be, again, I'm going to be sharing some notes. If you have specific things that you'd like me to make sure that I include in those notes, You know, one challenge sometimes is when you've been doing something for a while, you don't understand what's not obvious to other people. So I fall into that trap sometimes. So definitely send me your questions. I mean, I'll look at the chat later as well.
There's something else that you mentioned that might be important for people. You just kind of briefly talked about. There is an editor in YouTube. Getting in and out of YouTube is kind of a mess. But if your plan is to just get it into YouTube and keep it into YouTube, it's possible to do those sorts of things there.
Yeah, let me. I was going to show that at some point, but I can take a moment to show it now. Let's see. So these are all things that are up on our website. But I can download things that were uploaded previously. And so I showed how I upload things from my phone. If I want to edit them further, I'll download them to my computer and edit them more. But if I go into an individual video and to the editor, once again, we're getting a timeline view. And there is a zoom capability so that I can zoom in and find exactly where I want to cut. And I'll share a link to a tutorial on how to do this too. I don't want to spend much more time on it. All right. Teresa, I've lost your feed. Where are we on timing?
Oh, we're just half a minute before 5 minutes is up, so you might as well go on.
Okay, why don't we
behind before?
Why don't we move onward? And so publishing and sharing video. So this is kind of the embarrassment of riches of the social media age. Is we can all communicate with the world. Of course, we're also competing with everybody else who can also communicate with the world. So there are all these self-promoters all putting out their messages, and we have to make ours the best. Part of the reason you do editing, by the way, is so that you can make it short and tight and pull out the most special moments. You don't necessarily want to show the whole 5 to 7 minute speech. Well, actually, what I typically would do is I'd publish the full thing on my website. I'd publish a shorter thing on social media and say, come to our website and see the full thing. And while they're there, hopefully they're going to come to the club website and they're going to find out where and when we meet, and they're going to make sure that they attend. So if you have a Google account, you can upload video to YouTube. You sign in. Now, I do recommend creating what's called a brand account for your club, and that allows several people to have access and all to be able to share to the same channel. But it's just go into YouTube and look for this camera icon, choose upload video. We have the same thing in both Twitter and Facebook inviting us to share. So again, let's go to demo time. Let's say, oh, okay. All right, find my mouse. Okay, so this is uploading into YouTube.
So youtube.com upload.
Right. And so, let's see. Okay. So I've just this quick little video that I want to upload. It allows me to customize the title and any description. So this account is set up by default. It always includes that it's from optoastmos.org. And this is set to be public by default, but you can also change that. So With Club Awesome, since most of our videos are published as unlisted originally, unlisted is the default for the account, so that can be set. So that's going to keep uploading. And let's see. I want to go to my channel. So now that that's published, well, see, I'm going to use this one for
I'll introduce Roger
example.
Speck up and introduce myself. Roger.
So when you upload something, the service picks an image from the full video and makes it the preview photo, also sometimes called the thumbnail, but you can change that. You can go in here and switch to a different pre-selected image, or you can customize, upload a custom image. Remember I showed you that trick where you can get a still image out of the Windows video editor. Well, same thing here. You can use that here. You can also, there's also a capture a single frame in Camtasia. So often, you know, the default picture might not be ideal. It might be somebody with a funny look in their face, or it might be somebody who is actually the evaluator rather than the speaker, or just somebody in the audience who made a noise at that moment and the camera switched to them. So we want to be able to make that as ideal as we can. I'll show you the same process on Facebook. So I want to upload a photo or a video, add photos or videos. Here's the Bruce Pokey still image. And it asked me for a title. And once this finishes uploading, it should show over here that, again, I have a choice of what thumbnail to choose, or I can upload a custom one.
Are
Twitter.
you doing on YouTube? Is that what you're doing this on? And then you're putting it on Facebook or something? Or
No, normally, well, no. Facebook has its own video sharing capability. Now, you can upload video to YouTube and share the link on Facebook. However, I recommend uploading directly to Facebook if you want it to get a lot of attention and traffic, because Facebook is selfish and they will show content that is on their service more prominently than they show content that would cause you to click away to some other service. Twitter also allows video uploads, although they're limited to 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So just like you're supposed to have short messages, they want you to have short video. And it will, if it's not short enough, they'll actually shorten it for you. You can actually have a little trimming tool built in here. So maybe for a short video, you actually don't need to edit it ahead of time. You can use their video editor or trimmer, at any rate, to trim it down to the appropriate length, and then you click done, you add your message, and away it goes. Let's see. Oh, and I did want to mention that the WordPress for Toastmasters software, because I do this so obsessively, and we do it for every Club Awesome meeting, it includes its own little tool that picks up the speaker names and the speech title from the agenda, and I can just add a link here.
Great.
And what it will do is it can create and publish a blog post, and create and publish both a blog post and an email message. And what I mean by an email message, I'm sorry, I lost, oh, there we go. So this is an example of something that went out from our club a few weeks ago from the Club Awesome. So it assembles a video that has these little preview images, and it also has our disclaimer message saying that things are going to be published as unlisted by default. They won't show up in search results. Don't panic. We're not making you a YouTube star before your time. Once I've customized this the way I want it to be, I can click here and I send it out to all my website members. If I want to edit it more, this is actually something that you can edit in the same basic editor that you would use to edit a blog post. So I can customize this however I would like. We can see it picks up the names of the speakers automatically, but here I've added that it's an icebreaker. Okay, so that's a useful part of the point here is to make it as easy as possible so that you can do it on a routine basis. And that's how we've made it a weekly habit at my club. Often people will get the speech video email before they've gotten home from the meeting because I'm doing it on the spot. So I think that means we're back to time for...
Yeah.
Oh, I also did want to mention GIFs. GIFs can be fun. GIFs are like very short little videos. This is one that John Quick did about what went on at a TLI. I believe he did this in Camtasia. I'm not sure. But Camtasia will generate GIFs, and so will iMovie. And this is one we did for this wonderful speech Teresa did where she kept putting on different glasses to talk about kaleidoscope lenses. So I just sped this up real fast, and it's just that little clip here. And again, we're trying to get people to click through to see the whole thing. Now it's time for discussion. And that's pretty much the end of my presentation. We're going to do a few minutes of discussion, and then we want to allow some time for table topics at the end. And I can stick around after the end of the hour for more questions if needed. So questions? If you want to see something again, or I did have one more thing that I could demo, which is how to add titles in the Photos app. But I'm sorry, I think somebody started to speak up with a question though.
Yeah, David, this is Lois. I had a question. So the main thing that we should pay attention to, or that we can do easily, get a big bang for our bucks, is to trim the beginning, trim the end, and also add some kind of a photo or something at the end to say who we are.
Yes, okay. Absolutely. And I think just trimming the beginning and the end may be completely sufficient. The image at the end is a nice little extra. I just started doing that recently. And that's actually just a PowerPoint slide that I saved out as an image. Oh, I didn't show you that. This is important, actually. Let's see.
And while you're looking at that, I have a follow-up question, if I can.
Okay. Real quick.
Okay.
How I get all those slides so that I can insert them in. I can drag a PowerPoint into the media bin in Camtasia. And so this is one of the things that might be worth the price of upgrade. Oh, now it's going to spin for a minute. All right, hopefully. Oh, there we go. All right, and so it comes in with all the slides, and they're just numbered, with the file name. And I can drag any of these things in and plop it down on my timeline and resize it or whatever. All right, I'm sorry. Back to your question.
Okay, so I have a bunch of 1-minute videos of people that did a testimony. If I wanted to combine them in all, is that something that Microsoft Windows player that you're showing has? Or?
Right, absolutely. And
okay.
you're in it because we have a testimonial video that we've used quite a bit. We use it on the homepage of the Club Awesome website. But something like that where and the way we've done that is table topics. that day are tell us something about what makes this club special to you, or what makes Toastmasters special to you, or give them a, I asked a couple of people who are really good at evaluations to talk about the evaluations process. And then, they might blather on for a few minutes, but they say something that's really crisp and wonderful. If you can grab just that moment, assemble a few of those moments into a testimonials video, that's a powerful marketing tool, I think.
All right, thank you.
Let's see. I had just one other thing that I wanted to show in the Windows 10 photo editor. Now,
You have about 1 minute, David, before we should transition to table topic.
Right. Very good. In Camtasia, you have all sorts of effects you can add for titles. It's a little bit more limited here, but you can have a title that kind of blurs out the background and appears over it. You can have a title over just the bottom. A few other things here. You have to experiment with it to see what is appropriate. But it does give you a bunch of options. You can add titles. You can add transitions between clips. So it doesn't allow you to do everything that a Camtasia would do, but for free, not bad. Why don't we call it done? And we have a table topics master for this evening.
David, before you quit, I want to mention to everybody that although the replay will be coming out, the replay will not contain the chat room. And since there is some good information in the chat, I would recommend that everybody, before they leave, go into the chat room, and there's a more button towards the bottom. And if you click on that, you can click on Save Chat, and you'll have a text description of what's gone on in the chat room.
All right. Let's turn it over to our topics master of the evening, Tracy.
Thank you for that great presentation. As topics master, my job is to facilitate the impromptu speaking portion of Toastmasters. I help people by calling on them, and those Toastmasters who do not currently have roles have the opportunity to think on their feet in presenting a 1 to 2 minute mini speech that has a beginning, middle, and a conclusion. I'd like to ask if there are any guests that would like to participate this evening. Maybe by a show of hands.
How do you show a hand?
Like okay, because as of right now, everyone is fair game other than David. Maybe you should let me know if you don't want to participate.
How do you show you want to participate?
If you'd like to participate and you're a guest, please raise your hand. Great, okay, nice, awesome, awesome. Okay, you can put your hands down, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the topic first. We've spent quite a bit of time talking tech tonight. I'd like to personalize things a bit. Question number 1, where have you edited yourself or held yourself back in your own life when you should have been pushing and pursuing even harder? Can you remember a time? Bonnie?
I went through a shy stage over the last couple of years where I didn't want to literally participate in any business activities because my business is very fast. And speaking to groups became, or going to Chamber of Commerce meetings. I pretty much knew 75% of everyone, but that 25% still was, I was wanting to meet. I wanted to go up to you and say, hi, I'm Bonnie Grant. I own a farmer's insurance agency. I'd love to help you, but that's like so sales pitchy. I'd like to learn how to professionally. I still don't understand how to do that and care about you instead of me. I don't want to care about me. I don't want to talk about me. I want to talk about you, and I don't know how to do that. I just would really, truly love over the last couple of years. I mean, I like I said, I can talk to anybody any time of the day, and I could do one-on-one and one-on-two, but I can't do one-on. Talking to somebody that you just don't know is very, very hard to me still. I don't know why. Does that make sense? Did I answer your question?
Thank you, Bonnie. That was great. Sounds like you need a perfect elevator pitch.
Thank you.
Question number 2. How is social media used today to show us edited versions of people's lives? How is social media used today to show us edited versions of people's lives? Luke?
Today, social media is allowing people to let everyone see the activities that haven't been seen before. However, they only show the good pictures. If you remember a million years ago when cameras actually had film in them, you were really careful because you didn't want to accidentally take a picture and have to pay for that picture and end up with people's eyes closed or people looking away. But now you can take literally hundreds of pictures and you can choose that picture where you look the best. And oftentimes that's not what you actually look like, and what the picture's showing is not what you actually did. Many times you can put yourself against, or you can pull yourself away, and you can make yourself look confident, you can make yourself look attractive, you can make yourself look active. However, that might not have been the actual activity that was taken. So when social media bombards everyone with the best picture at the best time of the best situations, it makes other people believe that their entire life or your entire life is like that. And that's not actually the case. Everyone has a bad day. Everyone has a bad activity. And without the filtering that used to just happen automatically, or the filtering that used to happen just naturally, you can end up making people think a different thing than is actually happening. I don't think I made it the full.
Thank you, Luke.
Thanks.
Question number 3. Tell us about a time when you said or did something and then wish that you had an edit button.
Every day of their life.
Who just said that?
Me, Bonnie.
Let's see. Let's call on Jim.
Which one?
Jim Barber.
Ah, okay. Are there times that I wish that there were an edit button in my life, Madam Topics Master? Every single day of my life, I wish there was an edit button. Not just an edit button, but we're lucky here in this webinar that we're going to get a replay and we can go back and listen to things. But I've been in live seminars to where I missed something and I'm thinking, oh, I need to rewind so I can catch that. And then I realized, oh no, this is life. I don't have a rewind button. So I would love to have a rewind button. There have been some webinars that I've been at, some seminars that I've been at where I wish there was a fast forward button and get past some of the dull parts, but definitely an edit button so that I could go back and make corrections, take out the things that I wished I hadn't said, or make an improvement. For example, a good example is this table topics answer, because I'm going to think of a brilliant response in about 10 minutes time. But at the moment, nothing is coming to me. I really wish I had an edit button. Madam Topics Master.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you. Do we have time for another one?
One more.
Okay. Question number 4. How has Toastmasters helped you to mentally edit yourself during a presentation? How has Toastmasters helped you to mentally edit yourself during a presentation? Call on Jacinta.
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. How has Toastmasters helped me to edit myself in life? There has been many, many times I've had to edit myself. Definitely when you are presenting a presentation to a group of people, or if you're talking to a family member, or if you're speaking with your loved ones, you become more aware of what you're actually saying to them, especially when you are identifying those filler words such as and so and you know. That has helped me tremendously to be able to edit myself in terms of the delivery of conversations that I have with other individuals. Definitely when I'm speaking to my patients, I am more aware of what I'm saying to them and how that information is being relayed to them. If there are a lot of ums, and you know when I'm talking to a patient about treatment, they may not necessarily think that I am competent in what I'm doing. So Toastmasters itself has actually helped me tremendously in order to be able to edit myself and make sure I'm conveying the exact message that I want my patients, families, friends, and others to perceive about myself. Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you, and back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Yeah, I guess we're not going to vote because we didn't appoint a vote counter, and we're kind of out of time anyway. So actually, I should turn it back to Jim Barber. Not Jim Barber. Jim Dent.
Thank you.
Yes, no, Jim Barber wants a pause button or an edit button. Jimmy Dent is the master of the club. Mr. President.
Okay, thank you. Well, I'm glad to see so many people here. It was nice to see some fresh faces and some guests. You're definitely all welcome back. Hope to see you at our next meetings. You're definitely invited to drop in these meetings anytime you want. And if you're interested in joining the club, like David said earlier, press the join button on our website. I'd like to say it was a very excellent presentation, David. I've got 2 programs on my new laptop. I've got one, and my old one, I've got an older one, and I'm looking at the features, and I'm able to do everything you were showing me. They both allow you to put title captions and do editing the way you were talking about. You identify the beginning and ending, save that, and then you can add it to another video and stitch them together. So and I'm going to actually start trial and erroring with it.
Yeah,
because I intended to start some video blogs this year, and I'm late. I procrastinated on that.
Yeah, it's nothing that exotic that you can't learn it yourself, and there are a zillion tutorials out there. I hope that this one at least has been focused on, the context of all of us as speakers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I encourage everybody else, if you've got the capability on your computers, go ahead and start experimenting. If anything, just videotape yourself at home. Use your webcam and start editing it and practicing it and watching it and see what you're doing. And like David said, you can cut out all your filler words. You make yourself sound very professional.
Yeah, right. Now you know my motivation. Yeah.
Yes.
It's not that much of a secret.
Well, was there a few, Lois, was there a few guests that we didn't get to hear from in the beginning? I see there's a
We did not get to hear from Asika. I'm hoping I'm saying your name right, and Doug Brinker. And Nikki, I think. Nikki came in at the end too. Perhaps you all would introduce yourself, Asika.
Hello, my name is Asil, and I'm a member of Woody Birds. Can you hear me?
Yep.
We can.
Yep.
Yes. Yep. Thank you so much for having me today. It was a great presentation, David. I learned lots of things today. So happy to see you all. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for joining us. Doug Brinker, would you like to say hello? We haven't seen you in a while.
Hello from Michigan, where it's 50 degrees today and 40 below last week. Once again, always a pleasure to be amongst the world of great speakers of Toastmasters.
Thank you for joining us tonight. And Nikki, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. I'm Nikki McLean. I'm from Regina, Saskatchewan. I'm quite surprised to see two other members of Toastmasters Regina here. We're all freezing to death, but I'm so glad I came, and I enjoyed every minute of this. I'm going to use it to my advantage going forward. So thank you, everyone.
Wonderful. I think, Mr. President, that rounds out all of our guests. Back to you.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else have any special? David, you want to say anything about the speechathon we're going to have?
Yeah, our VP of Education is actually organizing that, but we do have an event at the same time on Thursday night, which is a speechathon, partly to make up for the fact that I monopolized all the speaking time at this meeting. They're allowing time for people to actually give project speeches. So looks like it'll be a good program if you're able to make it on Thursday night. And I mean, I guess for those of you who came here and you want to see what one of our regular meeting is like, Thursday still won't be our regular meeting. Come back a future Monday. But you're welcome to stop by the speechathon as well.
Please do join us on Monday. You'll be able to see how it looks as a regular Toastmaster meeting.
Yeah.
A tad different. All right.
All right. And I guess one final point that I would make about, I don't necessarily think that we can make the argument that everybody in the club, every Toastmaster needs to be a master video editor. But if you can get one person who's maybe a little bit more techie oriented, if you can get one person to study up on this stuff and to help the club out, it is a powerful resource for any Toastmasters club, I think. And, even in your business or trying to promote yourself as a speaker, if you're not comfortable doing it, draft somebody who's comfortable doing it and get them to help you out. That's my line.
Okay.
That's all I have for tonight. Again, I want to thank everybody that showed up, members and guests alike, and hope to see everybody in the guest Thursday night or next Monday night.
All right.
All right. Stay warm, everyone. Thank you for joining.
Thank you. Good night.